An attractive person always stays at home because to become wiser, watch this video till the end. We are not what happened to us. We are what we wish to become. The world will ask you who you are, and if you don't know, the world will tell you. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Life really does begin at 40. Up until then, you are just doing research. Everything that irritates you about others can lead you to an understanding of. Everything that irritates you about others can lead you to an understanding of ourselves. To ask the right question is already half the solution of a problem. The most important question anyone can ask is, what myth am I living? We meet ourselves time and again in 1,000 disguises on the path of life. No tree, it's said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. Synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see. Normality is a fine ideal for those who have nitrogen monoxide imagination. Where wisdom reigns, there is nitrogen monoxide conflict between thinking and feeling. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. In order to know the light, we must first experience the darkness. Conflict exists strictly as an opportunity to raise our consciousness. The descent into the depths always seems to precede the ascent. In all chaos, there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order. Find out what a person fears most, and that is where he will develop next. Life is something that has to be lived and not talked about. Where love stops, power begins, and violence and terror. The ability to ask questions is the greatest resource in learning the truth. If one does not understand a person, one tends to regard him as a fool. The experience of the self is always a defeat for the ego. Show me a sane man, and I will cure him for you. Nothing affects the life of a child so much as the unlived life of its parent. Perhaps I myself am the enemy who needs to be loved. That which we do not confront in ourselves we will meet as fate. Freedom stretches only as far as the limits of our consciousness. Man needs difficulties, they are necessary for health. To become acquainted with oneself is a terrible shock. If there is a fear of falling, the only safety consists in deliberately jumping. The psychic depths are nature, and nature is creative life. I don't aspire to be a good man, I aspire to be a whole man. Every psychic advance of man arises from the suffering of the soul. Dreaming is a phylogenetically older mode of thought. Even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness. All true things must change, and only that which changes remains true. Religion is a defense against the experience of God. If you are unhappy, you are too high up in your mind. The only thing we have to fear on this planet is man. Neurosis is the suffering of a soul which has not discovered its meaning. Part of the human self or soul is not subject to laws of space and time. Mind and matter are two different aspects of one and the same thing. The capacity for inner dialogue is a touchstone for outer objectivity. The starry vault of heaven is in truth the open book of cosmic projection. Follow that will and that way which experience confirms to be your own. Children are educated by what the grown-up is and not by his talk. As a plant produces its flower, so the psyche creates its symbols. The totality of the psyche can never be grasped by the intellect alone. The prerequisite for a good marriage is the license to be unfaithful. Masses are always breeding grounds of psychic epidemics. When you walk with naked feet, how can you ever forget the earth? Securities, certitudes, and peace do not lead to discoveries. The bigger the crowd, the more negligible the individual. Whatever is rejected from the self appears in the world as an event. Solitude is for me a fount of healing, which makes my life worth living. The world begins to exist when the individual discovers IT. But if you have nothing at all to create, then perhaps you create yourself. What is not brought to consciousness comes to you as fate. Water is the commonest symbol for the unconscious. An attractive person always stays at home because he doesn't know what to do. To become more intelligent, watch our new videos and playlists.